Hello everyone, welcome to Jason P's Budget Collecting. At least that's the name I'm trying out. Right now my channel is just called Jason P because I never expected to make any YouTube videos. But I'm giving this a shot. I'm mostly going to talk about comic book collecting. I've been kind of inspired recently to try to do this by Thanatos, John's Comics with Kids, White Whale Comics, Reggie Collects, RB3. Those are some of the guys I really follow on YouTube that do comic book stuff, and so they've inspired me to give this a shot. Today I'm going to briefly talk a little bit about myself, and then I have a haul from my winnings from RB3's 12 Days of Christmas, so I will definitely put a link to his channel below if I can figure out how to do that. And then I have my haul from my local LCS for the last 2 weeks of books that I've kind of stacked up that I went and picked up today. Talk a little bit about why that happened here in just a second as I talk about myself. So I collected a lot of comic books back in the 90s and early 2000s when I was in college, even through grad school. But when I got out of grad school, I got the job I have now. I kind of moved to a rural community, and I am nowhere near an LCS. So I stopped collecting. I just got out of it. And something happened about 18 months ago. Actually, a couple things that kind of got me back in. First was my sister moved about 2 blocks from a comic book store. So I went in one for the first time in, 15 years. And that got the bug back almost immediately. And then when I got home, I kind of looked to see where the closest one was and discovered there was a new comic book store, Phoenix Comics in Peculiar, Missouri, which I'll talk about a little bit here in just a second, that was within 50 minutes, which was a lot closer than the hour and 45 or so to the next closest comic book store. So since then, I kind of jumped back in with both feet, and I mostly collect newer stuff. Like, I like to read the stories. I'm not necessarily looking to have a really super valuable collection, although I've started trying to get into some grails and key books and that kind of stuff. And so hopefully you'll see a few of those as you go forward, but mostly it'll be breaking down my hauls, talking about the stories I'm reading, and we'll see kind of where the channel goes from there. So without further ado, because I know YouTube limits new videos on how long they can be on, we'll get into RB3's books that he sent me. Thank you so much for your generosity, RB3. These are really great. So first up, we have a Rebirth Batman number 16 signed by Tim Sale. So big Batman fan. Really enjoy Tim Sale. Get into that a little bit in probably future videos, but I mostly collect Batman and Spider-Man stuff. Those are not necessarily a DC Marvel guy. I'm a Bats and Spiders guy, so that was really awesome to get. Next up, we have Curse Words, number, 1, signed by Charles Soule. I enjoyed Charles Soule work on the Darth Vader series. I've never read this, but kind of looking forward to it. Thank you, RB3. Next up, I have a Tyler Kirkham signed Superman Rebirth number 31. And so, I don't know if you guys can see the Kirkham signature down here or not. It's kind of the one that doesn't really pop as well on camera, I don't think, compared to in person. But hopefully you can see that. Next up, we have, which for me was maybe my favorite of the group, is a Scott Snyder and Jock signed Batman number 44 from the new 52. Huge Jock, huge Scott Snyder fan. Obviously, he's a big Batman guy. This was really awesome. And last but not least from RB3 is this Adam Hughes signed Vampirella. I'd never actually seen this particular Adam Hughes book before, but really big fan of Adam Hughes' work. I'm a huge Vampirella fan, but love this cover. And once again, just thank you so much, RB3, for your generosity during your 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. What you did was awesome. For you, those of you that are like, wow, he gave away a lot of signed books, that's exactly what he did. He gave away a ton of them. There was a bunch of winners, not just me. RB3 was super generous with his 12 Days of Christmas, and big shout out to him. So you should definitely check out his channel if you haven't. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to run through my pulls from my LCS. This is 2 weeks worth. Like I said, I still live an hour away from my LCS, but luckily I've developed a relationship with them. They're cool with me coming in about every other week, making a trip up to get my books. So that's kind of what I do, and they know I'm good for it, and they know I'm going to be there, and I pull quite a few, so they're pretty happy. So even though I'm on a budget, most of my budget goes to them, so I think that keeps them fairly happy. First up is we have a Batman number 62, the Frank Miller cover, so that's a really cool cover. Really enjoyed Tom King's run on Batman. Next, I have Batman 995, or Detective Comics 995. Looking forward to the lead up to 1,000. Hopefully this will be a really good story. So I've been enjoying Detective Comics. Not as much as Batman, but it's been pretty good. So we'll go from there. Let's see what else. We got Tom King, another Tom King book, Heroes of Crisis number 4. Really enjoying this so far. So we'll see where this goes. None of these have been, I haven't read any of these yet. As I'm showing them off to you, just because I literally picked them up today and just haven't had time to start digging through them yet, because I was watching my Chiefs actually win in the playoffs, which never happened. Sorry, Thanatos. Next up, Nightwing 56. Nightwing's like my favorite character. The storyline with him being Rick Grayson, who's really not the same person, is annoying me, but I'm trying to stick with it because Nightwing's my boy. He was my favorite character when I was younger. So hoping this has a good payoff and we get back to the Nightwing I know and love before long. So we'll go from there. Next up, Batgirl 30. As you can tell kind of by the books behind me here, the Middleton, Batman 50, and the Batgirl 23. Big Middleton fan. Those books will probably rotate video to video, but really love this cover. In some ways I like this cover better than the 23, but it's not going to have the value just because there's way more of these ordered. But really enjoy Middleton's work. Going to be sad to see him leave Batgirl, although I think Archer's next on Batgirl, so can't go wrong there. Next up is another book that I started out buying simply for the Jenny Frison covers. This is Wonder Woman 61, and big Jenny Frison fan. I just think her work is, what she's done on some of these covers is amazing. Mostly we're getting Wonder Woman just for the covers, which is not something I typically do, but I've been making an exception for Jenny Frison. Although the newest storyline with G. Willow Wilson writing Wonder Woman has been much better, so I'm hoping that will continue. So it's nice to have it be a good read as well as just a cover. Next up is a book I'm actually dropping. This is Justice League Odyssey number 4. It's really not that it's been bad. It's just I'm needing to cut some books out of the pull, and this one's going to be sacrificed. So this is actually the last issue of Justice League Odyssey that I'm picking up. Next up is a book I will not be cutting. Justice League. This is Justice League number 15, the B cover. Really enjoy where Scott Snyder's been going with this stuff. Next is Avengers 12. I think this is 12. Really like this Noto cover. It's probably the only one of the 80th anniversary covers I really liked. Several of them I did not, but I did like this one. And so I've been enjoying Jason Aaron's work on Avengers. So hopefully that'll keep going. Next is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 1, the Art Germ cover. Like Art Germ, like Tom Taylor is a writer, so looking forward to this book. Although I have to admit, this is not one of my favorite Art Germ covers. Although Spider-Man's my boy, so hopefully that'll all be good. Next is Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. I really enjoyed the original series by Jason Latour. I have not enjoyed this series as much, but it was really kind of controlled somewhat by the Spider-Geddon event. So we're going to give it a few more issues before we give up on it. But for now, yeah, this one's headed toward the cutting block if it doesn't kind of pick up. Next up is Captain Marvel #1, which, based on Whitewell Comics, John's Comics with Kids, and Tony Sanders' review, is going to be a major disappointment for me as a big Carol Danvers fan. So, that's great. Hopefully, maybe I'll have a different opinion when I read it, but I kind of doubt it based on the review. So, we'll move on from Captain Marvel. Next is Thor #9, and this is, I just recently picked Thor back up. I kind of dropped it after it relaunched. Even though I enjoy Jason Aaron, Thor's just not a character I've ever really cared about. I did enjoy the Jane Foster run. I know there's some people that didn't, but I did. But I'm picking this back up in the run-up to War of the Realms, because I'm looking forward to that event, because Jason Aaron's been building to that for so long. I'm thinking that's going to be a good one. So, pick Thor back up just because War of the Realms is coming. Almost to the end. Next is Domino #10. I really enjoyed this series early. I've not enjoyed it as much lately, and this is actually the last issue. I know they're relaunching like Domino Hot Shots or something, but probably won't be picking that up. But this is the last issue, so I stuck it out through the end of Domino. And then last of my regular pull books is X-23 #8. Really big fan of Laura Kinney and Gabby from Tom Taylor's Only Wolverine run. This is not much like Ghost Spider. This has not been quite as good since the relaunch, but it's decent. It's just not as good. We'll see. It may or may not be on the block here to drop out of my pull list as we go forward. We'll see how it goes. Last but not least are two books that I probably would not normally buy. I don't buy a lot of independents, as you can tell from that stack, and I don't buy horror or that kind of stuff. That's not really my jam. Did I really just say that? But anyway, it is Stabity Ever After, and the reason I got this, you guys have probably never seen this cover. This is a Phoenix Comics exclusive. Phoenix Comics is as I mentioned before, my LCS in Peculiar, Missouri. And this was actually done, the cover art for this was done by Jenny Costanzo, who is Rogue One at Phoenix Comics and kind of the store manager. And this is her first ever cover art in comics. Phoenix had kind of built a relationship with Richard Rivera and the author of Stabity Bunny and with Scout Comics. And Jenny kind of had this idea for a cover for Stabity Bunny, and the people at Scout and Richard Rivera really loved it. So, and the shop decided to make it a store exclusive, which I think is only the second time they've ever even tried that. So, and you can see Jenny signed it for me today. They had a big signing event for her. I think they only did 200 of the trade dress and 100 of the Virgin cover. So these are kind of fairly exclusive books, so you won't just see anywhere. That was really cool. I thought she did a great job with her homage to Wolverine #1, which was kind of the idea she was going with. I don't know if you know anything about Stabity, but basically it's a demon inside a stuffed bunny. And this, I guess they get sucked into another universe, and he does a lot of killing. So, anyway, that's about all I know about it. I've never really read it, but I wanted to support Jenny in her first book, and I really actually enjoyed this. I'm a big fan of that Wolverine #1 cover, and I really think this is a really nice homage that she did. I know it's not actually her typical kind of cover art, or typical kind of art, and I think this has led to maybe some more opportunities for her coming down the line. Nothing she can talk about yet, but anyway. So if you're interested in either of these, I think they still have a few left. Look up Phoenix Comics on Facebook or on the web. Phoenix is spelled F-E-N-I-X, and they're in Peculiar, Missouri. And I think you can still order these with a signature and a COA. So congratulations to Jenny, Rogue One, for your first cover. And with that, I tried to drop it. Luckily I didn't. With that, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining me for the first episode of Jason P's Budget Comics. Talk to you later.